Hello everyone, this is Magnificent Kimberly here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I just want to thank you all so much for bearing with me as I recover from poison ivy. As you guys know, if you guys don't know already, I still do have poison ivy, but it has gotten much better, and I'm still recovering, but I'm doing much better. My eye isn't swelling anymore. My hands are getting better and everything like that. So you guys might see a vlog by the end of this month of me doing like from how it first looked to how it healed up and everything like that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all your support and kindness and generosity and wishes and prayers in my recovery process of recovering from poison ivy. So today we're going to jump in right into this topic. What is Juneteenth and why Juneteenth is such an important topic? So do you know why Juneteenth is such an important day in American history? Well, you're about to find out in this video. So Juneteenth, in my perception of Juneteenth, is a nationally celebrated holiday, or a holiday that's celebrated nationally, that commemorates the ending of slavery in the United States, of course. It holds immense significance in recognizing the struggles, the triumphs, and the resilience of African Americans throughout history. And this is generational, this is systematic, this is also historical as well. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sharing my screen. We're going to read through some articles, or maybe like through one article and half of another article, so you guys can get the gist of how this started and everything like that. And I'm also going to put these articles in the description box for you guys to see. So without further ado, let's get into it. So here we go. So here we go. Okay, Juneteenth, the complicated history, significance of Juneteenth. Okay, Juneteenth has become the most well-known celebration for the ending of slavery in the United States, and viewed by some as America's second Independence Day, which definitely makes sense. But the history of this important celebration is complex and often misunderstood. Juneteenth isn't a straightforward story of emancipation, nor did it necessarily improve conditions for many African Americans the next day or even the next decade, according to Aaron Stewart Malden, the John Hope Franklin Professor of Southern History at UCF St. Petersburg, and an expert on the Civil War and Reconstruction. Dating back to 1865, the holiday commemorates a day when 250,000 slaves in the state of Texas, which became the last bastion for slavery during the final days of the Civil War, were declared free by the U.S. Army. As soon as the following year, local festivities such as parades, music festivals, and all that were organized in African American communities to celebrate and remember the significance of that day, June 19th. The celebrations continued year after year. In the 20th century, African Americans from Texas and neighboring states spread throughout the country. So did Juneteenth celebrations. In 1980, Texas became the first to make it a state holiday. Shortly thereafter, other states followed suit, along with organizations and businesses across the nation, hosting events and educational opportunities dedicated to commemorating the significance of this day. In 2021, the day became a national holiday. So initially I had thought that Juneteenth was commemorated, or like that the bill was signed in 2019 or 2018 for some reason. Or maybe it's that I found about it around 2018, but it wasn't signed until 2021. But it actually was made it was actually made a public holiday, or no, a national holiday in 2021. So, emancipation of fight for justice. Some slaves in Confederate states were freed as early as January 1st, 1863, the date when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed by President Abraham Lincoln and went into effect. The proclamation was only as good as the Union's Army's enforcement of it, and this didn't pertain to slaves in Union border states of Delaware, Kentucky, Maryland, and Missouri, meaning slavery ended in a region when the Army occupied the territory. Even after General Robert E. Lee, commander of the Confederate Army, surrendered at Appomattox on April 9, 1865, an event generally regarded as the end of the Civil War, battles, skirmishes, and slavery continued. The last Confederate holdouts moved further away from approaching the Union Army as possible, ending up in Texas. Major military campaigns went through June, and people continued to fight for years. Depending on how isolated the enslaved were from the U.S. Army or networks of information or places they could escape to bondage, bondage did not end in 1865. From there, the story became even more complicated. Now free, the formerly enslaved had no wealth, no property, and only a few places to turn. The best solution for many was staying where they were, working for former slave owners and fighting to ensure that they would now get paid in a new arrangement of employer and hired labor. Plantation owners didn't want to pay their former slaves at all, and the former Confederate states were more or less broke after war, so they did not have money to even pay their former slaves. Eventually, contracts would become standardized among employers and labor, and an economic system of sharecropping developed. Laborers would work a plot of land for a share of the crop or profits at the end of the year. Some would begin to amass goods and property, and not to make their own decisions on what to plant, what livestock to buy, and even hire additional laborers to farm the land. But many in this new economic system would amass debt, as the only way to receive property and items to farm was to become indebted to landowners. The struggle for freedom morphed into a struggle for economic dependence. Freedom was not a straight line from Emancipation Proclamation to Juneteenth to the Civil Rights Movement. Maudlin said, individuals had to fight for every piece of freedom they experienced, in the struggle for racial justice that started long before the war did not end with emancipation. The celebration of Juneteenth today is important because it helps initiate difficult conversations and raises awareness about the country's complicated and tragic history of slavery and racial injustice. It is immensely important to remember the difficulties of fighting and securing even the smallest measures of freedom. Juneteenth has become a symbol for emancipation and provides a highly visible celebration that does get difficult. Uh, that does bring up difficult conversations of America's racial history. So the first celebration of emancipation in Tampa even precedes that of the first recorded Juneteenth, based on research by Professor Marlin. On May 6, 1864, federal forces, including black soldiers of a colored regiment, recaptured Fort Brooke in Tampa from the Confederacy, liberating the enslaved liberating or basically freeing the enslaved in the city. The following year, several black farmers borrowed American flags from federal units still stationed in the city and marched through Tampa to commemorate their freedom, according to local newspaper accounts. Since then, the black community in Tampa would celebrate their Emancipation Day in May, typically with a festival that included a community-wide picnic. Across the bay in St. Petersburg, the first black family didn't settle in the city until 1868. The first recorded celebrations in newspapers of emancipation weren't until the turn of the 20th century, and largely coincided with the ratification of the 13th Amendment, or when the Emancipation Proclamation was issued, which occurred on December 6th and January 1st, respectively. St. Petersburg celebrations were typically sponsored by local black churches and civic organizations, featuring worship services, marching bands, literary programs, and speeches by prominent guest speakers. As they evolved, Emancipation Day celebrations in Tampa Bay would reflect social and political concerns of black residents of the time. When communities would celebrate these festivities reflected the local history of when emancipation occurred. Juneteenth is the national date we have chosen, but each city, county, and state celebration of emancipation differs because of when federal troops arrived or when hostilities ceased and those enslaved were liberated. General Order Number 3 from Major General Gordon Granger, freeing the slaves of Texas on June 19th, 1865, known today as Juneteenth. Okay, and so I'm going to read a little bit about this one. So many Americans are celebrating Juneteenth, marking the day in 1865 when the last enslaved people in the United States learned they were free. For generations, Black Americans have recognized the end of one of the darkest chapters in U.S. history with joy in the form of parades, street festivals, musical performances, or cookouts. The U.S. government was, of course, slow to embrace the occasion. It was only in 2021 that President Joe Biden signed a bill passed by Congress to set aside Juneteenth or June 19th as a federal holiday. And just as many people learn what Juneteenth is all about, the holiday's traditions are facing new pressures. Political rhetoric condemning efforts to teach Americans about the nation's racial histories, companies using the holidays as a marketing event, people partying without understanding why. So Juneteenth started with enslaved people in Galveston, Texas. Although President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation freed the slaves in 1863, it could not be enforced in many places in the South. That's true, because as the first article we've seen, it was not enforced in Maryland, Texas. No, it was not enforced in Maryland, Missouri, Delaware, and another state. So it was not enforced until the Civil War ended in 1865. Even then, some white people who had profited from their unpaid labor were reluctant to share the news. And so, yeah, this is just a little bit about Juneteenth. And so, yeah, I'm also going to put these articles in the description box, but it just has me thinking that, Juneteenth was already a thing that existed. It just in recent years, it has now come. I feel like it was already a thing we already celebrated, but the only difference is that now it's a national holiday. So it's not just Black people celebrating it, but it's, the whole world celebrating Juneteenth, like Black people all over the world in different states and different counties, countries, and everything like that, celebrating Juneteenth. And, this commemorates like the resilience, the triumph, all the hard work and everything, like all the racial injustice and discrimination that we've gone through. And to now get to here where Juneteenth is actually, a national holiday, it's just, I find it so crazy. But although we do have this holiday, I do want to bring awareness that although like slavery is now illegal, I feel like even in this day and time, like I feel like it's still happening in the form of human trafficking, sex trafficking, prostitution, and stuff like that. Like systemically, those are still forms of slavery, even if it's not slavery, even if it's not like slavery of Black people, it's still slavery of people and everything. So thank God that that there are like projects and organizations and agencies that are for stopping or preventing human trafficking, sex trafficking, child trafficking, and all that. So thank God for that for sure. But yeah, Juneteenth is just I feel like it's been a long time coming for real. Like I feel like this should have been passed by one of the prior presidents that we had or whatever. But I'm glad that this was able to be passed. And honestly, I'm quite shocking that Congress even voted and agreed to pass this bill and everything. So that kind of gives me like a little bit of hope that like people are starting to change and people are starting to see Black Americans and / African Americans or Black people as people who have a lot to offer. Like not even people who have a lot to offer, but people who like I feel like they're starting to see that we're human and that we deserve respect. We deserve equal opportunities. We deserve the same amount of opportunities that that the same amount level of opportunities, whatever that white people have, such as being able to be promoted in jobs, in any job that you work, any career field, being able to have the same opportunities and to get promoted in the same jobs that white people get promoted in and everything like that. So I'm really glad that the world is starting to see a change. The world is starting to see a change, and that things are starting to get better. And I don't believe that things are 100% better. Like I feel like there's things that us as a collective and us as a society needs to work on, because we're still like in terms of discrimination and racial injustice and hate crimes and everything, we're still not where we need to be in terms of like I guess canceling out racial injustice like overall and everything. Because just think about it, like there's let's talk about black on black crimes. There's still black on black crimes happening where if it's a black on black crime, it's not taken as seriously, or they don't get as much time. If it's a hate crime with a white man, a white person murdering a black person, I feel like it. I'm not gonna say it's not taken as seriously now, because it really is, but I feel like at the same time, if it's like white man killing a black man, then no, it's, I mean, it is, but at the same time, it's not. So that's why I said, like, there's still more work that we have to do in terms of like us getting justice and us getting a fair chance at, not even just in employment, but like the healthcare system, the school system, the especially like the police system, or like the court system. Like, that's still something that's not where it needs to be in terms of being of us, of black people and black communities and people of color being advocated for and everything like that. So we still have long ways to go, but we have come so far. And so I'm proud of how far we have come as a society, as a collective. And, I'm just thankful to God for that, because this wouldn't have happened without God in the midst of this. So, yeah. So, Juneteenth often or tends to lack the awareness and recognition that it truly deserves, and compared to other holidays like Independence Day or even like Christmas, like, although Christmas is not, probably wouldn't be a good example, but yeah, compared to Independence Day, this presents a challenge in ensuring that Juneteenth is given the attention and awareness that it deserves and that it truly does need. Um, and so yeah, I didn't even know that Juneteenth was first like established or like originated in Galveston, Texas. Like, I didn't even know it even was like originated in Texas. Period. So it was really great to do this video, because it's important to know your history about certain holidays and certain things and everything like that. And so I'm going to try to do like a historical video at least twice a month or whatever. Um, yeah, at least twice a month to give us, a background on our history and everything. So yeah, it originated in Galveston, Texas in 1865, when freedom finally reached the enslaved African Americans in the state. And this was like 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation basically was signed. But and just in the the Emancipation Proclamation was signed by President Abraham Lincoln, but even although Juneteenth was already like a thing, again, it wasn't really passed or established like nationally, or even by the government until 2021. And I find it so crazy that it took y'all all this time to put this for y'all to sign this, or pass this as like a national holiday. Like, that's crazy. Like, why did it take y'all so long to like sign this, and even for this to even be passed as a bill? Like, why did it take so long? Like, it's just crazy. But in conclusion, Juneteenth is a celebration and a reflection that highlights the freedom and equality for all, especially for people of color and Black people. It serves as a reminder of the progress made and the work that is still to be done, as I already stated. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done in the ongoing fight against racism and discrimination in Black America, basically. And so, I encourage you all to take the time to learn more about the history of Juneteenth. And I'm going to put some articles in the description box, as I said before. In its significance, please share your thoughts on Juneteenth, on like your experience of being Black in America. If you experience any racism or discrimination, even if whether you're a person of color, whether you're a Black person, please feel free to share your thoughts and your experiences in the comments down below. Subscribe for more educational and historical content on topics like this, because I will be doing more topics like this. Again, at least once or twice a month. It really depends. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thank you so much. Bye.